Hi friends, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It's so greatly appreciated. It truly is. So, we are going back down the Reddit rabbit hole again today with another twisted and disturbing story as per usual. My husband of 20 years is cheating on me with our son's 18-year-old girlfriend. I'm going to use pseudonyms for anyone I reference in this post. I, 41 female, am a stay-at-home mom. My husband, 48 male, whom we'll call Paul, works in finance. We've been married for nearly 20 years. We have two kids, whom we'll call Eric, our 18-year-old son, currently a senior in high school, and Mary, our 15-year-old daughter. They are both the light of my life. My marriage with my husband has grown somewhat stale over the years for a myriad of reasons, such as his work schedule and how I've aged poorly since we first met. Our son Eric has a girlfriend, 18 female, whom he's been dating since they were freshmen in high school. We'll call her Amy. Eric absolutely adores Amy. She's his first love, and she's someone I've always considered part of the family. This makes the whole situation emotionally excruciating for me. Last week, I inadvertently saw my husband's phone screen and got a glimpse of a text thread between my husband and Amy, our son's girlfriend. And I read what looked like a message of her telling him that she misses sucking his... I froze in place, in complete disbelief. I spent most of the day convincing myself that I must have misread what I saw. However, I didn't misread it because over the last several days, I discovered a file on his computer filled with tons of BDSM corn. He clearly has a corn addiction. He has also saved photos of Amy from her Instagram on his computer. Although they weren't inappropriate, she was fully clothed, it was still proof I needed to confirm that I wasn't going crazy. I also looked at his phone during opportune moments and saw more of their interactions. I wish I had never looked. They were filled with mean, horrible things said at my expense, with him constantly comparing me to her. He would call me fat and old, among other things. Amy was laughing. I've always had hunches or paranoid feelings that Paul has cheated on me, but never in a million years could I have fathomed something like this. Last month, I found a thong in our bathroom that I knew wasn't mine. I turned a blind eye to it, being naive and acting like it was maybe our daughter's, even though that made zero sense. Not only is he cheating on me, but he's betraying our son. I'm completely devastated. I don't even think words can adequately describe the dread, anger, shock I feel right now. I'm totally overwhelmed on how to handle this because obviously actions need to be taken, but I'm terrified of what a psychic blow this will be for our son. I have no idea how to even branch this completely effed up topic with him. I wouldn't wish this predicament on my worst enemy. I can't even believe I married this scumbag in the first place. And then my mind started to race, realizing that I started noticing specifically unusual behavior from him around the same time Amy turned 18. Was he waiting for her to turn 18 before pursuing this affair? There are so many layers to all of this, and I'm completely paralyzed with fear and dread about it all. None of this makes any fucking sense. How did this happen? Am I that much of a stupid idiot that I let all of this happen under my watch? You're not stupid. Absolutely not. Who would ever clock something like this? I would never in a million years, well, I don't have a husband, but if I did, I would never in a million years clock something like this. Ever. I would never even think it. My mind would never go there. Eric adores Amy, and the thought of revealing this sickening truth to him terrifies me. The impact of his young heart and mind could be devastating. My heart aches for Eric and Mary, who are completely innocent bystanders. I haven't confronted my husband about this because I'm frankly scared of the domino effect. I don't know whom to turn to about this. I share my story not for sympathy, but in search of understanding and perhaps advice from those who might have had to grapple with deep betrayal. Thank you for listening. You need to tell your son. You need to tell your son before this goes on any longer and he finds out that you knew and you withheld this information from him. You need to have an honest conversation with him. I'm so sorry. To not have my initial post be long-winded because I didn't think I needed to get into a minutia of this. I didn't bother going into those details. How I inadvertently saw it was this. He was on his phone. He did not have iMessage open currently on the screen, but the application was still open. You know how iPhone, when you swipe up, it shows all the applications that are open and then you can close them? Yes. When he was closing out applications, something he does compulsively, I noticed it. It's not like he was some kind of idiotic buffoon having iMessage open for all to see. I saw he forgot he had the application running when he swiped up from a completely different app. Also, I did say in my post that I went back to his phone to actually solidify my suspicion on a different day. So, you are incorrect in asserting that I'm now magically changing my story. I am being consistent. If she's freshly 18, isn't this illegal? There's no way that they weren't doing anything illegal before she turned into an adult. Also, even if so, the age gap is over 3 decades. Your husband is suspect AF. She's been 18 for 5 months now. I haven't been able to gauge when the affair started. I'm trying my hardest to figure that out. He deletes his texts every couple of weeks, it seems like. So I haven't been able to pinpoint when the whole thing started. Thank you, everyone, for your overwhelming support. I'm sorry if I haven't responded to your private messages. I'll get to it when I can. Dealing with a lot right now and taking a lot of steps that need to be taken. I'm trying to be smart and strategic with this truly surreal and terrible situation I'm in. I want to be clear that not telling my son about this was never something I was considering. I didn't mean to make it seem that way. I was just saying I'm intensely dreading it. But obviously it needs to be addressed. It's one part of the many steps of my overall plan. I'm currently playing dumb and collecting as much evidence as I can so I can be prepared for anything and everything. I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to make sure I don't put myself in any potential harm's way. I'll post more of a thorough update soon when I can. Please know you've all touched my heart so much and make me feel less alone. March 22nd, 2024, 5 days later. I'm using pseudonyms for confidentiality. I shared a situation a few days ago on another subreddit involving my husband, Paul, 48 male, and our children, Eric, 18 male, and Mary, 15 female. I discovered that Paul was having an affair with our son's 18-year-old girlfriend, Amy. My son has been dating her since they were freshmen in high school. Oh. My brother connected me to a very tough junkyard dog type lawyer. I saved screenshots of all his conversations with Amy. I was only able to get the last 3 months from iCloud. The conversations were mostly flirty and dirty talk. It was hard to stomach, completely sleazy, and I saw several negative things said about me. His call history showed he talks with her for hours pretty consistently. He uses dating apps. I took screenshots of his profiles and all of the active chats he has with his matches. It's very clear he uses a filter to seek out girls who are 18 to 22. I copied all of his files from the computer. He goes on sex chat rooms and forums, and he spends a ton of money on OF. I rummaged through every possible hiding spot I could think of in the house. He has various toys, blindfolds, cuffs, lubricants, etc. He also had different outfits which look kind of like a girl's Catholic uniform and a French maid type outfit too. Okay. I picked up Eric and Mary from school and we all drove to my brother's. They were able to sense something was awry when I picked them up. I delicately told them the entire situation and I broke down crying. Mary had the most anger, even more than Eric. I met with Amy's mother and told her everything. She confiscated Amy's phone and gave me the entire chat log. It only dated back 3 months ago, like my husband's iCloud, almost as if they both deleted the messages at the same time. She told me Amy sobbed when confronted. Amy basically told her mother that she will never understand and that she and him are in love. I don't want to get into too many details with what else she was saying, but suffice to say, it was easy to assume that my husband slowly and methodically became a sage-like figure in her life, making her feel she could rely on him. And he took advantage of the fact that she came from a broken home. Amy is also nonstop insistent that their friendship only became romantic, physical recently. And before that, she said he was more of a friend and mentor. I confronted Paul over Zoom. The look on his face was scary. He became red and looked so sweaty. He had anger and panic in his eyes. His tone of voice was very defensive and frightening. He kept yelling the word context over and over again. And that none of that happened. He was unable to speak without constant stutters and intensity. Nothing really made any sense to me. I refused to tell him where I was, and he said I had no right to take the kids away from him. Then he abruptly left the Zoom. I'm pretty sure your kids don't want to be around you. My lawyer is filing for temporary sole custody of Mary and a restraining order. Mary is still the angriest. She's totally furious with her dad and Amy. Justifiably so, of course. Mary is recollecting moments and times she watched her dad interact with her friends, and she's in knots about it. Eric is very clearly hurting, but he's so strong and level-headed. He wants to see a therapist. The maturity my kids are showing makes me proud. They don't deserve this at all. Absolutely not. We made the authorities aware of everything. I plan on being completely unforgiving and ruthless in this divorce. I'm reflecting on how I've been treated and how it's made me a shell of myself, and how I've had a very negative opinion of myself because of him over the last 20 years. I don't want to let this scumbag get away with it. I want to reinvent myself and move on stronger than ever. How is your son holding up? What has developed between him and Amy? He hasn't spoken to Amy yet since finding out the news, and I'm not sure he ever will again. Have you confirmed if the thong you found was Amy's? This situation is fucked up. I confirmed that it wasn't my daughter's. She said it wasn't hers, and I know it wasn't mine. So who else could it be? Wait, are you saying that they fucked in your master bedroom? Don't cheaters always use their married bed? Yes, I believe he did. Both me and my son are going to get tested and checked out as well. There's no telling how many different women he's been sleeping around with. As for Amy, her mom has been in contact with me, and Amy has been threatening to run away with him because they are in love. Update 2, March 27th, 2024, 5 days later. Thank you again for all the love and encouragement. It gives me comfort and means so much to me. I've received many comments and messages accusing me of faking this story, which oddly also provides comfort because all of this feels unreal even to me. It validates my own feelings that there are people out there who can't even fathom this being true. I wish it were fake. I've been focusing on and worrying about how others are feeling over this, somewhat ignoring my own feelings, which I'm trying to change. I range from anger to numbness like a light switch. We're all safe and still at my brother's house. We're very careful and his house is secure. Paul has tried to call my cell phone several times a day. I am refusing to interact with him, and I will have my lawyer handle all correspondence. He scares me, frankly. My brother has a very secure house with an alarm system and a deadbolt locks. We feel safe with him. But my son and I got checked out and tested. It appears so far that we're both clean based on the immediate rapid tests. But in the coming days, we'll know for certain when the lab results come in. I'm not overly concerned. Eric is scheduled to see a therapist early next week, which is very good and needed. Sure is. He's not himself right now. He seems a bit shell-shocked and I'm concerned. He internalizes a lot, and it's hard to get a read on what's going on in his head. That being said, he's thoughtful and has been talking with me, asking me how I'm doing and everything. He's not interested in corresponding with his dad at all. He calls only my cell phone, and he hasn't tried to reach out to either Eric or Mary. I get the sense that Paul is extremely nervous. He's scared, and I think he deep down knows that if I investigated thoroughly, he would be in big trouble. That's what my gut is telling me. I still think about the Zoom call with him, and the more I think about it, the more it looked like he was the man whose entire world was crashing down on him. The panic in his face was very apparent. I offered Mary for me to make an appointment with a therapist as well, but she doesn't want to see one yet. She said she's open to it eventually, but wants time to herself. She's been asking her friends about her dad and if they experienced any creepiness from him. Her friends were open and honest with her, and apparently they felt like he stared a lot and sensed his hovering presence whenever they were over. One of Mary's friends went so far as to say that she felt like he was checking her out a lot, like looking at her rear and complimenting the color of her yoga pants. At the time, no issue was brought up about it, but in light of everything that has been happening, it seems strange now. He would sit himself in different areas or vantage points to get a good view of her, she claimed. He also asked questions about what kind of friend group or which clique they were in at school. He kept asking about if they were popular girls. I'm completely embarrassed that they had this experience at our house. As for updates on Amy, which is the main reason why I wanted to write this update, I completely agree that she's also a victim. A lot of people have been emphasizing that, and I agree. I've done everything I could in my own power to indirectly get her opportunities to get help. Like I said, I told her mother, and she's been updating me on everything. Amy, unfortunately, is still living in her deluded reality, and I can only pray that she'll eventually come to her senses. She doesn't want to see any doctors or therapists at all and has been constantly trying to reach Paul because, again, she believes that they are in love. From what I've been told, she hasn't been able to get hold of him, and he's been avoiding communication with her completely. Amy blames me for that and believes that I took away his devices and am very controlling. Any truth that her mother tries to convey to her is met with conspiracy theories and hostility. Amy looks at me as a villain and still sees Paul through rose-colored glasses. Her mother showed her screenshots of his dating app profiles and matches, and she refuses to believe it, saying I photoshopped it. According to her mom, Amy keeps saying things like everyone is just mad because she found herself a real man. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You found the complete opposite of that. I promise you, sweetheart. And that I'm jealous because she's taking better care of him than I do. It's in line with some of the conversations I screenshot, where a lot of what Paul says is him complaining about things I don't do for him sexually. Right now, she's insistent that she and Paul will be together in the long run. Ugh, he's honestly a slime ball. I can only hope that Amy comes to her senses, but me directly intervening doesn't feel like it would be productive at the moment. Maybe eventually, though. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Reading all the previous posts, I honestly get the vibe that your husband wasn't a very good one to begin with. Someday, when you're ready, you're going to find someone who thinks you're glorious as you're at your age. Your son is also going to be okay. He's gotten a lesson on exactly how men shouldn't behave. A painful one, but in time he's going to realize that Amy was groomed and abused. It sounds like she was vulnerable and your ex took advantage of a child who was in a bad situation. Hopefully, once Amy has had some time to process just how messed up this was, she'll tell the police the whole story. I fully believe something was happening before she turned 18. So do I. I believe stuff happened before she was 18 too. Do you think they kept that relationship secret most of Eric and Amy's relationship? What a disgusting father and pig if that's the truth. I'm not sure when things got actually physical or romantic, but I do think his grooming started as soon as she came into the picture when Eric started dating her freshman year. This mentor and a friend that Amy alluded to had to start right away, and the way she's acting now, being so indebted and believing every single thing he says, shows that his effect on her had to be over a long period of time. She only turned 18 like 5 months ago, and her behavior and infatuation for him seems so strong that it couldn't possibly be 5 months of them being together. If they are consenting adults, then there's nothing to report. This is a personal problem that needs to be dealt with by attorneys and the people involved. People are way too jumpy to snap to the police to fix their problems. OP is handling this the correct way. If any legal issues come into play, then her attorney will do the right thing. The only thing we can really hang our hat on is that the possibility of Amy having an epiphany of the reality of her situation, and she opens up candidly about when it began. But because she's 18, currently has no interest in saying or doing anything that could potentially put Paul in legal trouble, nothing really can be done unless they find out about other girls that I have no idea about yet. What a fucking mess. This is a mess. Update 3, April 8th, 2024, 11 days later. The support again has been overwhelming and I'm grateful. Sadly, I've received a lot of negative, accusatory, harassing private messages from people who think I'm faking this story. Someone made a comment on some post somewhere claiming that my story has been debunked, and people believe that. I've seen an uptick in negative messages accusing me of making this up for money. I'm not asking for money at all. Coming here was completely rooted in emotional desperation, and I didn't expect anyone to get invested in my story this way. But again, I'm not looking for anything out of this. I have no reason to lie. I'm not gaining anything from this. If you don't believe me, that's fine. I don't care. But the only thing I ask is not to cross the line and start sending me private messages that are mean-spirited or accusatory. The only reason I'm continuing to post is because those of you who sent me love here and the support really lifted my spirits. As for the divorce, it's very much underway. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because it's ongoing and I want to make sure everything is going to go smoothly. I got temporary custody of Mary. Paul also has to pay temporary child support. There's protective order. Paul can't contact us or come near us. Right now, we're just focusing on getting through this legal mess. Again, not getting into specifics because I don't want to mess anything up. But what I'll say is I'm very confident, divorce aside, that there's overwhelming evidence against Paul that we will get him in serious trouble and it will impact him for the rest of his life. I'm sure eventually I can share more about that. I know a lot of people are concerned about his predatory ways, and I just wanted to convey this. Even though I have been vague right now, justice will come. All of your concerns about how my kids are doing psychologically means a lot to me. Eric has been to therapy twice over the last 2 weeks. I know some people thought I was dismissive of him and acting like he's doing okay. I very much know that he's hurting internally, and we're doing everything we can to make sure he knows he's supported and loved. And that's all that you can do. You can't do anything else. My brother has been amazing in spending time with Eric and Mary, and both of them have confided in him about a lot. My brother has a very healthy marriage, and both he and his wife have really stepped up to the plate for all of us. Mary has not seen a therapist yet, but she promises that she will be open to seeing one soon. Her anger has mostly turned into sadness. I noticed and hope I can get her to see a therapist soon. Her friends have played a key role in this whole thing, and that's something that Mary has been grappling with as well. I know a lot of people are invested in the well-being of Amy. There were a lot of questions about whether Eric and Amy would still see each other at school. It sounded like they go to the same school, but they don't. Eric and Amy went to the same junior high school and knew each other even then. But Amy ended up going to an all-girls Catholic high school while Eric and Mary stayed in public school system. We all lived in the same town, and over this summer, heading into freshman year, is when they were getting to know each other and when they started dating. I wish I had better Amy update, but it's gotten a lot worse since the last update. Paul has actually been seeing Amy despite her mother trying to force her not to see him. She tells me that Amy says she's 18 and an adult and she can do what she wants. Her mother is in a precarious spot because if she kicks Amy out of the house for defying her, something that she has threatened to do, which I think is a mistake, she will just run to Paul permanently. The time she spends with Paul has increased over the last week, despite the fact that Paul initially ghosted her when all of this first hit the fan. There were some days where Amy would just be gone for hours on end. There's only so much I could do with the Amy situation. But again, I do believe things will turn around soon with that. Given what I know about Paul and what's to come, I can only pray that Amy can get help and guidance when more shit hits the fan. I'm doing everything I can with my own kids and my own mental health. And Amy's mom knows she has my support, and that's all I can really provide. To be honest, the only way that Amy will see how messed up Paul is when he eventually sleeps with someone else, or he accuses her of seducing him. Even if he ends up as a sex offender, I don't know if that's enough to convince her that he's a creep and dangerous. Now I'm curious to what Paul's intentions are. He ghosted her and now all of a sudden they're meeting up again? Worst case scenario, he's going to have her falsely testify, which I don't think will take much convincing Amy. Honestly, you and Amy's mom did what you could. The best thing Amy's mom could do is sit and wait, but don't kick her out. Let her know she'll be there for Amy and she'll still have a roof over her head. And pray she snaps out of it soon instead of years later when she has burned bridges and wasted her life on a man who took advantage of and ruined everyone else's lives. Take care of yourself and please don't stress about these internet trolls. They are mean, heartless, soulless humans that have nothing better to do in life than tear people down that are already hurting. Though I'm also a stranger, your story moved me and I'm sad that you have to go through this. Please take care of yourself too. Sounds like both kids are doing okay now, but you need to be well too. That's true. New update, April 14th, 2025. I'm sorry it's been so long since my last update. I didn't expect to continue to have this overwhelming amount of support from people for this long. Thank you so much. I've gotten so many messages on here that I haven't been able to respond to. So, I want to share an update with how everything is on my end and my kids' end. So, quick recap for those who might not remember what my story is. My husband Paul cheated on me with our son Eric's 18-year-old girlfriend Amy. When they were caught, he unraveled at the seams. It was clear that he groomed her for years. He had saved dozens of photos from her Instagram, kept a secret folder of BDSM porn on his computer, and I eventually discovered screenshots and chat logs between them that were beyond disturbing, graphic messages, hour-long phone calls, even them mocking me behind my back. When I confronted him over Zoom, he melted down, sweating, stuttering, yelling the word context over and over again. It was a level of panic I've never seen in my life. I filed for divorce, I took our kids, Eric and our daughter Mary, and we left. We stayed at my brother's house. I met with Amy's mother, who confiscated her phone and confirmed everything I suspected. Amy told her they were in love. She refused therapy, pushed everyone away, and insisted I was jealous and trying to ruin their relationship. Paul ignored Amy for a while, but eventually they started seeing each other again. She was 18 and legally couldn't be stopped. Meanwhile, I worked with a lawyer, I filed for full custody, and we began building a case. Paul kept trying to contact me directly, but I refused to speak to him. We moved forward with the divorce, even as more disturbing things came to light. His behavior with Mary's friends, the comments, the hovering, the pattern, it was all there in hindsight. Mary and Eric were both traumatized, and they are still in therapy a year later. The amount of scorched earth Paul caused is mind-boggling to me. I'm still rattled by it, and I don't think I will ever recover, to be honest. Paul and Amy dated for several months after we started the divorce proceedings. I tried my hardest to keep in touch with Amy's mom to see if there was anything we could do for her to realize Paul's predatory behavior and maybe speak out against him to see if he slept with her or did anything to her when she was younger. But she refused to talk about anything. She was in love still. Just a few weeks before the divorce was supposed to be finalized, Paul disappeared. He drained what was left of our shared accounts, what I hadn't already locked down, and left. We found out later that he bought a one-way ticket to Cambodia. I had no idea. I got a notification from Financial Tracking Alert my lawyer set up. That was it. Paul, how long were you screwing this girl for? How long were you screwing her for? Because if you were not screwing her when she was underage, there's no way in hell you would take off to Cambodia. So, how long were you screwing her for? We were close to finalizing everything. I had full custody of Mary. He wasn't contesting anything. Then he stopped replying, didn't show up to court, never filed anything, nothing. It was like he just dissolved. Amy, according to her mother, was devastated and she's completely gone mental right now. She's basically nomadic, sleeping at friends' homes around the area, refusing to come home. My lawyer pushed for default judgment and the court granted it. The divorce is technically finalized now. I have custody. He's in violation of the support order, but none of that matters. He's gone. Cambodia has no extradition treaty, no child support enforcement, nothing. There's no way to make him come back, no way to make him pay anything. We have no actual clue where he is in Cambodia. One thing that chills me to my core is how notorious Cambodia is when it comes to trafficking minors. Eric's in college. He keeps his distance from everything to do with Paul. He doesn't say much, but he's steady. I know it still hurts. He just doesn't show it. Mary's quiet about it too. She still brings up little things sometimes, things she remembers now in a different light. She asked me the other night if I thought Paul would come back. I didn't answer. I don't think she really wanted me to. I don't know what Paul's doing in Cambodia. I don't know who he's talking to or what his life looks like now. I've had a few people tell me to report him to the FBI or try to push for an international investigation. I've made the calls, I've filed what I could, but there's only so much they can do when someone hasn't technically committed a crime that's provable in the United States. I don't believe he left the country just to avoid alimony. I think he's a predator, and I think he's a criminal. And I agree with you. That's all for now. I don't have much else to give. I'm still here, my kids are still here, and we're trying. Thanks to everyone for their concern and care. It means so much to me. Wow. How could you do that to your child? How could you do that to your child? Sick. From what I've learned about studying criminology, there's often a pattern to behaviors of people like your ex. I really think he will be back and that he will get caught. Maybe him fleeing is a blessing in disguise because that puts an actual physical barrier between your family and him. As a mom, woman, well, hopefully a decent human being, I would like to thank you for doing the best you could to protect everyone. It must have hurt so much. It's now time for you. For your healing, I wish you all the best and all the happiness you can have. May I just quickly add something regarding Amy? Maybe you need to hear it. You have done everything you could. There's a moment in a horrible situation like this when we just need to step back and allow people involved to make their own decisions. And let us have some breathing space from everyone's feelings. It often sucks because we want to just grab them and shake them by their shoulders until they clicked into sanity. But your body needs to recover too. Your nervous system needs to recover. Eat well and sleep plenty. I really hope there's no guilt involved on your part, because if her life is awful from this point on, it's your ex's fault, and I hope that you know that. God, the way this douchebag just nuked so many lives and scorched the earth behind him. I feel like, from the way OP writes, he'd been emotionally bullying her for a while. Considering how in the first post she talks about how their marriage has gone stale for many reasons, including how I've aged poorly since we first met. Like, why would you be thinking like that unless the thought was put into your head? I caught that too. Some men honestly believe they are still in their prime while their wives are aging poorly. The self-delusion is pretty incredible. Surrender to the gaycation or be destroyed. She likely didn't even age poorly. She probably just aged. But to someone who's only or primarily attracted to teens, he lost attraction to her, and that was his excuse. She was 21 when they married. Who knows when they started dating? He may have gone through with the marriage because he thought it was the right thing to do, or hadn't accepted his proclivities by then and was trying to be normal. She probably won't understand what happened to her until she's old enough to look at 18-year-olds and see them as children. In order to see herself as a victim now, she would have to completely reconsider her true to her feelings and decisions of the last year, accept that he didn't choose her because she's amazing, mature, beautiful, smart, or whatever he told her. She's just a nobody that was in the right age group, and he never loved her. He just wanted to use and discard her. That's a lot to process, and she would have to deconstruct how she sees herself. It will take time. Not the same situation as OP family, but I was in a relationship at 22 when someone twice my age, who also happened to be a college professor, not mine. My family was adamantly against it, but I was an adult and in love and felt like I was making my own decisions. I eventually ended it and moved countries. By 27, I was teaching college myself, and it hit me like a train how young students were. The 22-year-olds were like babies to me. It started to dawn on me at that point how my relationship had been creepy, to say the least. She was groomed and brainwashed, and that's hard to overcome. There's a TN congressman who started grooming his future wife by supporting her FFA activities when she was in high school. He helped her get college scholarship. They were 21 and 45 when they married. She thinks she's in love and has kids with him. What the hell? Feel really bad for the kids in this situation. In spite of being teenagers, they are children. Still not old enough to have any experience or tools to deal with this. Will probably take a decade or more to deal with the trauma in a healthy way. Man, this is a rough story. I can't imagine how you could sneak around that much with your own, within your own hours with your own kids. I can't even sneak a sandwich in my house without someone knowing. Sick. This is horrible. That poor kid. Those poor kids. Okay, one more, and we call it a night. My 50-year-old idiot kid got his girlfriend pregnant on purpose. April 26, 2025, throwaway for obvious reasons. I, 30 female, have a child who is 15 male. We'll call him Ollie, plus other children aged 2, 6, 9, and 11. As you can tell by my own age, I was a teen parent. I was lucky and we married at 18. Still married, healthy relationship, worked our way out of a very dire situation, graduated, started a trade, etc. And we are comfortable, stable in all ways. This information is relevant. Ollie has been friends with this girl. We'll call her Bree since he was 7 years old. Their family used to live in the same city as us and went to the same school, same friend group. We know her parents are long-distance friends ourselves. Not close, but say hello when the kids are on video chat and had drinks together before. Bree's family moved to a very small town 3 states away due to rental affordability. No secret. We all have talked about the rising costs of everyday life. The cost of living in this city has risen, forcing many locals out. They moved because of that and for better job opportunities 18 months ago. Since then, Ollie has been begging for us to follow, giving us a sales pitch on cheaper housing, better paying jobs, none of which fit either of our professions. The whole works. We have said no because, well, no, but even if we wanted to, our children are in school, sports, and have friends here. Selling and buying another house, finding work outside of our skill set, or having to learn new skills, any normal adult would understand this. He still does not. Well, fast forward to Christmas. Bree's family came back to our city for a holiday, and the kids met up multiple times with each other. It was my understanding that they were always with the other kids, but obviously not, since Bree is pregnant, and I am certain it was on purpose. He has access to condoms. I don't care for opinion on that. My access was restricted, and I had him. He has had sex ed from me, my husband, school. He knows damn well how babies are made and how not to have one. Ollie now wants me to move to be with her and the baby. It's confirmed. I've talked to her parents, and I said no, I don't feel I need a reason. But he asked. You're 15. We don't have any proof it's your child yet. I'm not moving us away from our lives, and you're not going alone until you're 18. We'll do a DNA test, then we will look at parenting plans, and topped it off with a too bad, too sad, you made your bed, now I have to sleep in it. Fair enough. He took that back to Bree, and now all communication between me and her parents has been cut. I'm a terrible person. My comments about the DNA test are disgusting, and it's fueling my son's hatred for me. He says I am keeping him from the love of his life and future baby, using my own successful relationship as proof it will work out. I actually don't even know if I'm right or not. I'm just really upset and feel like my life I worked really hard for has been destroyed. She's due September around the 22nd, so no, there's no option for getting rid of the baby. I don't think that, or adoption ever was. Ollie admitted it was on purpose last night. Apparently it was Bree's idea first as a joke that turned into a plan together. Bree's parents will only pass messages through my son, and I have heard this for myself. I stood outside the door and listened to them tell him, tell your mother, insert info below, because I know I will just go off on her about that bullshit. They're talking shit about me with my kid. They're appalled I would think that way of Bree when I have known her for more than half her life and do not wish to talk to me. I will not allow him to move out there alone. There are some past issues such as Bree breaking up with him twice in the last 18 months because she found someone that she liked more in her town. Around August and October last year, same boy. And when it ended, she came back to Ollie. Bree's a nice girl, but her behavior is toxic and has been since she was a child. Her mother and stepfather are nice, but the relationship is unstable. The house is chaos. 9 children combined, blended family, and 2/3 teens with serious mental health struggles. He would be leaving stability for chaos and no structure. I want a DNA test, and I will not budge on that. I am close to cutting his contact totally off at this point because they are only empowering him and reinforcing his behavior towards me and his father. His father is a man of few words, which is unhelpful. So far, he's backed everything I said and only really chosen to say, you have the intelligence of a pear. Update 2, May 30th. Things have gone south even further. At this point, husband and I have been blocked on all social media and numbers blocked, but the communication with Ollie has continued. Ollie gave us Bree's parents' email address to send an email to, but before using that, I asked him to video chat Bree with me, and then I could ask Bree to please get her parents so I could talk to them about this and tell her that if they were going to continue to refuse, that I would be blocking all contact to Ollie and communication until this is resolved. I told Ollie this before the call. At first, he flipped out about it, but it was this or I cut communication completely. I don't think he understood that it's not okay that her parents are speaking to me through minors. And he said himself he would like for us to talk to each other. Bree joined the call and hung up when she saw I too was there. Ollie called back a few times and she didn't answer. She asked via text why I wanted to talk to her, and Ollie told her that I wanted to speak to her mother, and if we didn't resolve communication issues, then all contact would be ended until her parents made contact with us, and we made a plan for the next few months, including DNA. And then birth arrangements. Said that if the baby is his, we will travel there for the birth within the first few weeks after. He told her that I personally think it's probably his baby, but I want to be sure and make sure everything is done right from the start. Well, Bree blocked him with a reply, and he's totally heartbroken, not eating, sitting in his room all day and night, not mad at me, surprisingly. Very, very sorry for him and to us. Sad about it all, and I think regretful. He even asked me if there was a way to undo it for himself. I haven't talked about signing over rights. Male, his father called it, because I think he's just getting upset right now. A mutual friend of Bree and Ollie's here in our hometown showed him a few posts she made in the last 24 hours. Things like, "It's you and me against the world, baby girl," and memes about deadbeat dads. She also announced the pregnancy, which she hadn't done yet, and the post had some single mother facts and quotes. Ollie's friends knew about the situation, and a few were under the impression he had dumped her and the baby, going by the posts. But when we explained what had happened, they all rallied for him in the comments. I said not to. And now she's blocked them and we can't see what she has posted. This is just a nightmare. I have had a plan personally, not set, but something I wanted to talk to her parents about. But I don't even want to waste my time at this point. Ollie gave us Bree's parents' email address to send an email to with said plan. Basically, Bree does DNA blood tests. We will pay the $1,500 for it. If it is his baby, we can book flights and plan to be there for the first month. I'll stay too with Ollie, maybe even the whole family, and then we can also work on a parenting plan and getting into mediation for a judge to sign off on it. Perfectly acceptable. Ollie's father and I split for the first 7 months of his life, so we have done this before and we know the process. But at this point, I think I will just leave it to settle before sending an email. Update 3, June 3rd, 2025. 4 days later from update 2 in the original post. Someone suggested I repost the update because they didn't see it until now, so I am. Update again June 3rd. Ollie's friend was able to see her Instagram through an old account, different email. I don't use Instagram enough to know what that means, but it meant that they weren't blocked when reactivated. They found the pregnancy announcement post, and if you scroll across, it showed a digital copy of the scan Bree sent us at 16 weeks. Apparently, the first scan she had at the OB. That is dated 4/4 and clearly says GA 19 plus 3 weeks, making an August due date, I believe, or very early September. This would not line up with the due date given to us, but does line up when her parents told me she was pregnant mid-April and told us we've had pregnancy confirmed and sent a photo of the printed pic, which the date isn't on there. I actually think it may have been cut off at the top. I haven't told Ollie this yet because I want to be sure. I am very concerned about his mental health at the moment and taking into consideration. But unless she gave the wrong period dates and the baby measured only 16 weeks, that it's not possible for it to be our son's. Also, added information, her due date from what we know is September 22nd. She was here from December 20th to January 7th and saw Ollie on December 21st and 22nd and January 4th and 5th. Never overnight. I asked Ollie when did this happen, and he said January 4th was the only time, which makes more sense as they were in public gathering otherwise. They were at a mutual friend's birthday party that night but never stayed overnight. I have 5 kids and I know the dates are too close to figure it out that way. They are. Ollie also said that the joke Bree made was to just see if it happens. the pregnancy because then it's obviously meant to be and he would be able to move. To me, it sounds like she had the plan a lot longer, but I may be biased here. Update 4, June 12, 2025, same update post 12 days later. I spoke to Bree, biological father, who lives in this town, whom had no idea about any of this. Before you come for me, there was no known DV or anything. I felt I had run out of options at this point, and I just wanted a way to contact them. Bree's mother then made contact, agreed to the blood test if we paid for it. Ollie and Bree spoke again, and Bree asked to come here for a holiday and have an ultrasound with him to prove dates in person. I agreed to this, but I may not be thinking straight with the stress we have all been under. She says she's 26 weeks, sent him a photo of her belly, which has grown, and told him there's no other option but him to be the father, that the ultrasound had to go by her last period date, and she didn't remember, so she went by her app, and it was the period before. That's why the dates are out of scan. I asked if she had physical booklet of pregnancy notes or something because I know from experience that we have all confirmed the information on them, but she said everything is digital with her doctor, and I didn't want to push it because it's not my medical info. I'm wondering if I do just fly out here on my own terms. Her mother agreed, and do the blood and ultrasound here and put an end to it all. Might be a good idea. Update 5, June 25th, 2025. Same update post 10 days later. We all came to a travel arrangement. We paid for Bree to fly out, and her father was paying for the ticket home. Bree was supposed to fly to us this morning and stay for 6 weeks total, flying back sometime in August. Her father's in charge of that flight. She was staying with us over the next few weeks while we do our annual July 4th family vacation for a week, and then a couple more weeks back here at home for the ultrasound and blood test. This was decided together, both families, because Bree and Ollie would like to have some kind of positive experience or memories, and obviously, if the baby wasn't his, Bree would be taken to her father's and we would be finished with it all. But she never turned up for her flight. She texted the night before that the doctor recommended she should not travel as she's at risk of preterm labor due to her age, and her severe morning sickness makes her only able to tolerate pineapple juice, so she's needed to be hospitalized and maybe even deliver early. That's scary. This on top of a group of photo that includes Bree, obviously pregnant in a tight tee, hugging the boy she was dating in her new town. His hand on her belly. It was quickly removed from her story when Ollie asked. I think it was intentional to make him jealous. I am done. I do not believe her or her parents. I have contacted a lawyer and therapist. I will not be updating again until I know the outcome of the DNA test, that I assume will not be done until after the baby is born, since I was told today I cannot force her to have one while pregnant. If this baby is Ollie's and my grandchild, I am willing to move Bree here and have her live with us. It has no chance and will continue to ruin my son's life from afar. Update 6, July 13th, 2025, new post almost 3 weeks later. I didn't plan on updating prior to the DNA test, but I can confidently say we do not need it to know the truth. We will likely still do one if Bree sticks to her story, only I will go through the courts at this point. We have a family lawyer, and he has advised these updates are fine as long as I do not identify anyone by name, location, etc. I had a lot of helpful messages on here, and I do read them all even if I don't reply. One was from a radiographer who suggested that I look at the measurements of the baby on the ultrasound, if I am able to get scan pictures, and then use that to calculate if the baby was 16 weeks on that scan. I've kept that idea in mind, even if I ever get the chance to see the scan myself. That same Redditor also raised concerns that she only had one scan at 16 weeks, and there wasn't a 20-week scan, again 4 weeks later. All OBs would do a scan at 18 to 22 weeks. The one photo we haven't seen is a photo of a scan, a profile shot of the baby's face at 16 weeks. And there hasn't been another scan since then. We have been playing it safe and being very careful with how we tread around Bree, not wanting to cause any arguments. We have not mentioned this to them yet. And if by chance someone tells them via this post or they know about this post, we don't care. We have nothing to lose since the baby isn't Ollie's, and this is how I know. Okay, do tell. Bree and Ollie have had many mutual friends, but only one other girl, Hannah, who is still friends with both of them from within the group. Hannah believes Ollie is the father because that's what Bree says. But she's had a falling out with Bree this week. It led her to talking to Ollie, and then she sent Ollie a video that Bree sent her after the ultrasound in April. Prior to this, Bree had told her not to show him because he wasn't going to be in the baby's life by choice, and all the things she was posting about deadbeat dads. The video shows multiple measurements being done, and I was also able to see clearly that the baby measured 19 weeks, and that scan was the 20-week scan. There's no way that baby is Ollie's baby. She is due August 26th. Ollie knows all of this and is doing okay. Very angry, but he has the support he needs. What happens now, we don't know, but we know the truth. All we can do is speculate as to why my son was the target of this plan. I know we will likely never know the truth. To clear some things up, I will not be taking this up with Bree and her family until after the baby is born. I am not concerned about the DNA test results, but we'll still do one. In the video, the OB, whoever it was, doing the scan says, so your due date is August 26th, which lines up perfect for your last period. So I know that's the due date. And you can clearly see the numbers on the screen showing the measurements are 18 to 19 weeks. Ollie can't be the father. She wasn't even in the state. There's plenty of other more detailed clues, but I will not post. I think the father is the boyfriend in that town, but what I don't understand is why Ollie was better. Yes, there's more money, but we aren't rich. We just live smart. But she's a dumb kid, so she's looking at the money. That's what I think. That's just what I think. Update 7, September 6, 2025. We have a baby. Baby K was born September 1st, 2025, 8 pounds, 4 ounces. She was induced for being post-due date. Ollie visited a few hours after the birth with me. Her mother and sister were there, and we asked to visit, but were gone when we got there. The whiteboard on the wall that held all the birth details stated her EDD 826. Ollie didn't say much. He's very receptive to the fact the baby is most likely not his and still in therapy. But I think he loves Bree, and I'm not sure how to navigate that. Ollie went down to the cafe to get her something to eat, as her mother had apparently forgotten to bring food. Since it was just us, I took my chance. I asked her about the EDD on the board nicely. I told her no one is upset with her. I, too, am very wary about the possibilities that the home situation is unsafe as she may be trying to escape. I told her Ollie knows already. He has for months. He's not angry. He's worried. And he even knows she lied. He wanted to come here and be with her and the baby. I told her what I know to be the truth as his mother. There's nothing that Bree could do or would do to keep him angry enough to cut her off. She broke. I think it was the fact she was so tired and had just had a baby, the hormones and probably mental load that would come with her lies. I feel a little bad, but I'm glad I asked. Listen, mom on a mission. Bree admitted to me she knows it's not possible, and she was very, very sorry. She wanted to move back to our city. She didn't want to live with her mother and stepfather anymore. In fact, she never wanted to leave, and her dad said no. She couldn't live with him. The pregnancy was never planned originally, but she came up with the idea herself when she found out they were coming back for the holidays. I asked who the baby's father was, and she never got to give me an answer. But I think it's the boy from her town. I asked that directly and she shrugged, but no confirmation as Ollie came back and she shut down again. I told Ollie that Bria made a mistake and she was very sorry, and Ollie said he knew, and it was okay, and the baby was cute regardless, which I laughed at the ridiculousness that is my life. What a childish thing to say. I didn't ask her about her mother knowing or anything. I was cautious not to set her usual defensiveness off. We left not long after, and Ollie and Brie are still talking via text. Ollie right now has asked me to not ask for the DNA as Brie is struggling with her own mental health like most of us do with that hormone shift. That's all I have to update on. Wow. Kind of feel bad for that girl. Sad. If you guys are still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and I appreciate you so, so, so very much. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't yet and you feel so inclined to, because it really helps me out and I really appreciate it. And until next time, stay safe out there.